Welcome to AndyTube on YouTube. We're going to do a little different type of video here. This is the Singer Model 503A Special Slant-O-Matic. And I'm sure most of you have seen a sewing machine and you push the foot pedal or the knee pedal and the wheel goes around, the thread take-up goes up and down, the needle bar goes up and down, the feed dogs go up and down and pull. If you look down inside here, you can, there's a hook that goes around and around. That's how a sewing machine works, right? There's a light on most of them. But what I want to do is show you how it works inside. So we're going to take a look inside a working, restored Singer Model 503A. So I'm just going to take the nose plate off here, and I pre-loosened a couple of screws here. This is the top, of course, with the bobbin winder mechanism, the top hat cam section where you can put in different patterns. The 503 Special is a straight stitch with zigzag. That's the zigzag cam. Left, center, right needle position. Stitch length, lever, and reverse. Going up. This is the lever that raises and lowers the needle plate. Straight up lifts it up above the feed dogs so you can do free motion sewing, quilting, monogramming, mending, or you can go completely left and raise it up enough to remove the needle plate and put on a straight stitch needle plate instead of an all-purpose. But let's take the top off here, and let's get that out of the way, and we'll talk first about the type of motor. This is similar in the 301, 401, 403, 404, 500 and 503, many of the 600 and 700 models. This motor is inside of this type of sewing machine. It sits right in here, and this is what it looks like. It's a cast aluminum and kind of bakelite with a solid steel direct drive motor, a steel worm gear that comes up, and the way it makes everything works is on the back of hand wheels. This is a little different type of hand wheel, but I happen to have it. But they have a fiber type gear. And when the motor is inside and the hand wheel is bolted on, that's how they mesh up, like this. So when the motor spins, the hand wheel spins. Direct drive, no belts. So very direct, very powerful. So that's how the motor is in there, and I wanted to show you that outside because it's harder to see inside. If I tilt this over here and see if I can get some light, we get a look at the top stuff here. That is the very top of that motor shaft right there. And inside there is that fiber wheel on the hand wheel. And the hand wheel is attached to this very thick, sturdy, heavy-duty steel upper horizontal shaft or main shaft. So when that motor turns, the motor shaft connects to the fiber gear, turns the wheel, which is bolted to the main shaft, and that's what makes everything go. So right here you can see the forked shaft and a elliptical bearing on there. You see it's not perfectly round, so as it goes around it makes that fork shaft kind of rock back and forth. And that shaft is going to go down here and end up working the feed docks. That's why we want that fork shaft with a rocking motion. Now it's getting harder to see here. Down here is a steel gear that's on the main shaft, meshing with a vertical shaft gear, and that's going to go down and run the timing and the bobbin. I'll show you below. On this main shaft, between this point and this point where my index fingers are, there's another one of these worm gears, and that meshes up with the gearing of the cam stack. Let me pull off this. And this is known as the cam stack. And this has interchangeable, there's about 22 of these different patterns. But as that main gear is turning, you'll see this start turning. And then the pattern and spacing on the cam is what will help create the stitch pattern. So when we move the lever here from straight and start going to width for zigzag, you'll see it make some adjustments here. You see this swinging there? That's like a swing bar that's going to make the needle bar rock back and forth to create the zigzag. So when it's all the way over and locked in, it's straight, and this will not move. So you just have your needle bar will go straight up and down. When you get into your zigzag, it's kind of hard to see. Well, maybe if I turn the motor here. Let's turn the motor. There we go. You can see this elliptical gear and the fork moving. Main shaft. If I put this pattern cam back on now, oops, got to be in the straight position to put cams on. Now when I put it in the zigzag width and run this, you'll see it rocks that swing bar, and the needle would be rocking back and forth. That's my widest stitch. If I do my narrowest zigzag number 2, you'll see it still moves, but just a lot less. Then if I go straight, it will not rock that bar. It moves the bar rock mechanism far enough away from the actuator that the bar doesn't rock. So you may be able to see the wheel spin and this top piece moving there. See if I can do it slowly. Yeah. That gets the whole thing going over here. A little more speed up there. Let's put the number 3 width zigzag so you can see the rest of this get into motion here. There we go. Now if we go around to the front, we'll take a look here at some more of the mechanisms. I can't move this out of the way without disconnecting everything. This sets the pressure on the presser bar and presser foot. how hard the spring pushes down here on the fabric. It's your needle bar, your take-up lever. Way in the back there, there's a kind of a, I guess I call it a counterweight. Let's turn this now, and we're still in zigzag, so you can see this. You can see this part swinging with this arm, which is going to make the needle bar zigzag back and forth. And you'll see the take-up lever pulling the thread up. In the back, you can see that counterbalance weight spinning. Get a little more going on there. This model sewing machine can do about 900 stitches a minute at the max. So it's not anywhere near a commercial machine, but for a domestic machine, believe me, you don't often sew at 900 stitches a minute, so it's plenty. I'm going to widen that zigzag as much as possible to get more swing here so you can see it here. So you see that all works together. The direct drive motor going up to the fiber gear on the hand wheel, which is bolted to the main horizontal shaft, which activates the rocker arm, the vertical shaft, the camshaft, the swing arm, the needle bar, the uptake mechanism, all that upper end. And that's how it all works up there. Let me flip this on its back here, and I will show you the underside of the machine, and we'll get some action down here. Turn that light off, that might get in the camera. So we just have a large thumb nut here and a felt washer. This is the oil pan or drip pan. Get that out of the way. So here is the motor, the bottom of that PA type motor. So maybe you can recognize that. I'll put it right on the side there. Negative and positive connectors, which are hidden by this bracket. This is just a tension bracket that goes in and pushes on that motor to hold it in place. And it covers the electrical connection right here. This is the bottom of that forked shaft right here. And it's set up to come over here. And then it's got some more, some rockers. And that's what moves the feed dog. This is the bottom of that vertical shaft. I told you up there before the cam stack, there's a gear like this on top of the shaft and a matching gear at, I guess I'd call it 90-degree angle on the main shaft. And that brings the power down here. Another steel gear, steel shafts, another steel gear, another steel gear, and this is the bottom of the hook post. So that's what turns the hook. So this is all rocking for the feed dogs, and this is your power for the rotary hook. And this is the, remember that lever up top to move the needle plate? This is the bar and post and spring system down here, if you're wondering what that is. So as we put power to it, because that main upper shaft is turning, you're going to see this vertical shaft with gearing to this lower horizontal shaft going over to the 90-degree gear system, and that's what's spinning the hook up there. This is the rocker shaft. Remember that forked shaft up on top. As it's rocking back and forth, it comes over and rocks these two up underneath above the hook to the feed dogs. Impressive, or it is to me anyway. It's quite a system. It's so powerful and strong with all this direct drive steel shafts and gears. There's no motor belt, there's no timing belt and pulleys, just solid die cut stainless steel gears running the whole thing, and cast steel rods to work the feed dogs. Interior electric direct drive shaft motor, the 300 series, 400 and 500. That's why these machines are so strong. Now when we look down here, you may notice this body is cast aluminum, so it's a lot lighter than the old cast iron. It's cast aluminum they started making after World War II. And if you see these extrusions and the way that they're designed, that's why you can have a much lighter body, but you still have all the strength of a cast iron machine. When I say lighter body, this beast still weighs 32 pounds. But an equivalent cast iron machine would probably be upwards of 45 or higher, a machine this big. So when the Singer engineers and designed these cast aluminum and these protrusions, it's kind of on a what they call the triangle engineering design to give it strength. So that's the underside. Go back up to the top side here for a moment. Just open this up and I'll run this part again. Maybe get a close-up of, might be able to see that hook going around there. You see the feed dogs. You make a little bit longer stitch. You might get to be able to see those feed dogs moving better. You can see, because it's zigzag, maybe you see the needle bar going left and right and back and forth. You go back to straight stitch and the needle bar will just now go up and down. Hook spinning. The whole front end. Needle bar, take up lever. Put it back to zigzag. You see the swing arm and the cam. The whole cam stack slowly rotating. Motor tip, fork shaft, and the worm gear running the cam stack. So that's inside look at a Singer Model 503A Special Slant-O-Matic. The slant is how the needle is slanted about an inch closer to the user, and it's higher. Better visibility for the operator. So thanks for tuning in. I thought it would be interesting to show you the inside workings and how these things are built so strong. You can see some of the casting protrusions here too in the upper part, and they're kind of way that they designed with the triangle. It's cast like that, so this is strong. These are cast in triangles in the front and the bottom and so forth. It's all one piece. This part is set into the plate, our base. But that's why it still weighs 32 pounds, because of all the steel gearing and everything like that. So they are portable. The machine can be mounted in a table. It also has a little metal base this can slip into, and then a big plastic or wooden cover that snaps on, and it's called portable. But the machine itself weighs 32, and then depending on the case, that's going to add pounds. So mostly, I think this machine should be mounted into a cabinet, because it's really powerful, and it can sew canvas and denim and upholstery and garment leather, no problem. It can also sew even down to lace and your polyester fabrics, your vinyl, your ballistic nylon. So it's a really super versatile, powerful machine that's very well designed. Will just run forever if you just keep it clean and oil it and lubricate it. Easy to work on. The original 500 of this is the one you see with the big gold knob here and the brown knob behind it that has all the built-in stitches. And the way that they do that is on the lower part of this cam stack are 6, I don't remember now, 6 or 8 steel cams that look like this without the top hat portion, and they're screwed on to this, and then there's a couple of actuating arms, and you turn the knob and it selects a certain pattern. This I like better. They did without that. You can get 22 different patterns you can use by popping that in. But to me, the machine's more powerful because it's not driving that huge cam stack and all the other actuators, which it has to move around even if you're just doing straight stitch. So I like the 503 special and the earlier 403 special for that reason. You have the same powerful motor, you're pushing around a lot less steel when you sew, but you can do blind hem. You have your built-in zigzag just like that with the standard cam, and you can put in 20 other different cams if you like all of those fancy patterns. Thanks for watching the inside tour of a working restored 503A by Singer. See you next time.